Hi guys, this is Zombie Wildman Hall, and I thought today's video I want to talk about smartphones and technology in general, and why I think these are making us dumb. So, so just as background to give us all context, my day job is I'm a high school mathematics teacher. I've taught internationally. I've taught in different countries, across different cultures, across different continents, right? So my experience has been quite diverse. Like over the last 10 years, I've taught in 8 different schools in, oh geez, let's see, South Korea, China, Thailand, Brazil, Uzbekistan, right? So 5 countries, right? Quite diverse countries. And I've lived in many other countries and all this. So I've been teaching nearly 10 years now. And there is this distinct split down the middle of those 10 years between the first 5 years and the second 5 years. And very clearly to me, my students, the first 5 years I was teaching were much more intelligent than the last 5 years I've been teaching. And the only explanation for this is the electronics. And because this is something I've witnessed across countries, across cultures, it's not an isolated thing, right? And the biggest thing I've noticed is the general inability among students to figure out problems on their own. As in, you give them a problem they don't understand, and I remember my students, they were like, most of them at least would try to figure it out. Even if they got it wrong, they would try. They'd give me some wrong answers. They'd say, I try to do it this way, that way. And what you get now, especially the last like 3 or 4 years, is students more and more, especially like the last 2 years, especially where they're just like, teacher, I don't understand. And they don't even try. It's like they want to be spoon fed the information. And then when you spoon feed it to them, they still don't get it because, to be quite honest, they're not really thinking. you know, and so I just think, well, there's the first issue, which is the dopamine, right? Like they're over inundated with dopamine, like all those electronic, the video games, uh, the YouTube videos, and not YouTube videos like this, like a podcast or Joe Rogan or something like that, but um, I'm talking about like the stupid cat videos. Which, by the way, as part of this video, if I'm done editing with this, I think I'm gonna start with cat videos because I have cat videos. Many cat videos are probably the funniest cat in the world, courtesy of someone I know and love very well. And just to prove a point, I'm gonna start posting cat videos once a week. The short, dumb cat clips are cute and stupid. And I want to see how quickly my cat videos start getting more views than this channel, or the Zombie Wildman Baby in a Straight Jacket podcast, where there's actually valuable knowledge being discussed and dropped, right? Um, because that's what we've been reduced to. We've been reduced to the attention span of a goldfish, of like a house cat. And not an outdoor cat. We're talking like a stupid indoor house cat, right? Like, that's like like poorly equipped to deal with the actual world, right? Like we basically have a generation of 18-year-olds coming up that are, or younger, that are essentially just adapted to a artificial environment that's just so far removed from the real world that there's no possible way they could survive in the real world. And maybe that's being harsh, because human beings are built to adapt, and maybe given the right circumstances they would change drastically, at least some of them. But yeah, I just see this all the time. It's like this it's almost like the sense of entitlement has spread to everyone in the new generation, because they expect instant gratification, right? Because that's what they're getting. That's what they're getting from social media, from TikTok, from YouTube Shorts, from video games, what other dumb shit, like just even just like a lot of stuff, it's been very gamified, right? And I'm all for gamifying stuff, but at the end of the day, sometimes the best way to learn a new language or something is just to memorize it. Just sit there and try memorize these. Can I remember these words? Can uh, can I solve this math problem? Can I do whatever the puzzle it is that's laid out in front of you? And to expect that it would be fun or easy or just oh a pathway laid out in front of you is just that's not how the real world works. The real world is chaotic, is competitive, and I feel like one of the few last bastions of reality for a lot of these kids coming up is the sports, right? Like because there's still that element of competitiveness and just realistic instantaneous feedback, a way to measure that like your hard work is rewarded by results. More hard work gets more results. um yeah, so I guess the next question would be is okay, well, if these are dumbing kids down, all this stuff, how do we combat this? And I think the first thing is if you're a parent, be a fucking parent. um you know Actually spend time with your kid, do stuff with your kid, like go for a walk with your kid, spend time with your kid, read a book to your kid. Don't just hand them the fucking smartphone with some blinking lights on it because you want to shut up because you just got home from work and you're tired. Don't do that. Like, um, it might be tough. Don't do that. If you want your kid to be an insightful, creative, problem solver, so someone who's going to grow up to be someone and something, invest in them, invest yourself, invest your time because they're the number one teacher before they go to school, before anything. If you're a parent, uh, you're their number one teacher, and that's a big responsibility. You have the primary influence on them through your kids. Um, and the other thing is, I personally, I wouldn't say get rid of electronics 100%. I'm saying choose how the context in which your kid is gonna encounter these. Like, I think there's a big difference between them playing Call of Duty or playing Minecraft, which is basically digital Legos, right? I think there's a big difference between them learning how to program and them just watching a video that's just they're just getting stuff fed to them, right? Like they're not actually having to think. I think you need to read to your kids. If you read to your kids, that's gonna instill a habit in them as they become literate to read themselves. And listen, at the end of the day, when you watch a movie, that's art by consensus. That's art by committee. That's gone through probably 100 people that had to give their okay before that movie was made. Say, yes, you can spend the money on this. Yes, you can do this. You can do that. Like, yes, the sponsors approve of this, right? But when you read a good book, you're having a conversation with a very intelligent person. You're having a conversation with one person with one vision, one person's vision. And you're having a conversation with the sum of all their knowledge they've condensed into this book, whatever, even if it's nonfiction, fiction, whatever it is. And in a previous video, I talked about how the medium is the message, and just think about when you're reading a book, you're forcing yourself to slow down. You're forcing yourself to focus on one thing for a long period of time. You can't speed through the information. It's not getting force fed to you. You're taking the words. The words are your roadmap. And with that roadmap, you're creating images, thoughts, and feelings. As you create the scene in your mind, you're actually using your own creativity to create this story. And the words are just this roadmap. They're kind of the instructions of like, if you're going to build a Legos, or if you're going to build an engine or a remote control car or a piece of IKEA furniture, whatever the hell it is you're going to build, however simple or complicated, the instructions are telling you how to do it, but you're actually building it yourself. You're putting it together yourself. This is a book. The book, you're actually putting it all together. They're just giving you the instructions of how to put it together. And that's what's so beautiful about books, and I sometimes I wonder what the future is going to be like. Like right now, as a teacher, I confiscate phones on a daily basis. My students are not supposed to have them out during class. I constantly catch them looking at the phones, right? And the main subject I teach, I'm a math teacher, high school math teacher, and I can't compete against a cell phone for their attention. The cell phone's going to win every time, right? The smartphone. Um, And it's just pretty clear to me that they're as addicted to their phones as they might as well be freebasing heroin. They're that addicted. They cannot control themselves. So if you give them the responsibility, they cannot responsibly have that responsibility, right? Um, so I just yeah, it's sad to see, but my point was this is that I think the teachers of the future are going to be cell phones, right? Because an argument can be made that um, most education is not there to actually educate the kids, it's there to dumb them down and indoctrinate them. And I won't completely disagree with that, Like me as a math teacher, I have faith in what I do. I feel it's one of the purest forms of knowledge there is. It's either it's right or it's wrong. It's logic. Essentially, math is logic, right? And it's sets of rules and dealing with those sets of rules and inputs and outputs. And it's not a matter of opinion. There's no feelings involved. But one of the beautiful things about math, but one of the things that puts a lot of people off from it is that you're constantly dealing with things that are difficult and having to learn to think in new ways. And it's not supposed to be easy. And the truth is most of my students will never use the math I teach them once they leave my classroom, but the ability to take on challenges and be confronted by new information that you don't understand, and the ability to through perseverance learn to understand it and eventually make sense of this is a life skill that can be applied to everything. So um but yeah, I just wonder sometimes. I wonder if 10 years from now, 15 years from now, the children, the people are so addicted to their phones, and the IQ is just rapidly dropping. Their ability to keep their attention span on one topic or anything that's important to them. And pretty soon, like 10, 15 years from now, they might be having kids. They're raising the next generation. How scary is that? That's pretty fucking scary. And you know, I just if the whole purpose of mass education is to dumb people down and dull their senses and all that, well, to me, just having a cell phone app be the new education of the future is the natural extension. A better way to dumb people down and turn them into sheep, just mindless, dumb sheep that you can more easily control. Because I'll tell you right now, the education system of the ultra elite, and what I mean ultra elite, I mean like the upper tier boarding schools, right? Like these funnel schools for Harvard and all this, like your Exeters and what do you call it, have you. Um, their model of education is very, very different than most education models, right? Like certainly public education on this, and it heavily emphasizes writing essays and rhetoric. So basically, what we call functional literacy, not your ability just to read, but your ability to write, to express yourself, to form arguments, to form ideas, because they're trying to educate leaders, right? And that's something that's lost in most education as institutions, right? So yeah, it's weird. Like you look around the world, and it's like most people's connection to other human beings is through digital devices, is through this digital filter. And I know for me personally, more and more, I found most of the human connections that I have is through things I love to do, through sports, through exercise, through the gym. And it's one of the last bastions of reality. And just as like a side thought, I think one of the best ways if you're an adult or just anybody to combat this, to get in touch with reality, learn how to hunt. Go hunting. Be out in nature. Get in touch with life, death, where your food comes from, what it takes to get it. Uh, go to jujitsu, go to fighting. That's reality to a certain extent. Reality with rules, but that's a dose of reality that kind of break you out of the civilized world. It's just there's something really honest about it. Um, Educate yourself, read books. Uh, don't be afraid to think differently. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to be ostracized by dumb people. Don't let people with small minds limit you. And I'm going to end this video on that note because I think it's the right note to end it on. Guys, I love you. This is Avi Wildman Hall. Till the next time, keep it real.